everyone, it's Jai452 back again inside the land of cosplay, rummaging around seeing what we can find in our very favourite show, Inside Cosplay. Joining me this week is none other than Spectral Beanie. Hi Spectral!
Action! Hey fellas!
How are you today?
Can't complain, just back from work and I'm tired. But this is a good way to relax.
I know the feeling. I had the dentist today and I was like, no.
Oh, murder.
Yes. Especially when they brought out the drill, I was sweating buckets and I'm like, please keep that away from me.
I always kind of like the sound. Not in my mouth, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah, but, well, I was sitting in the dentist chair, so I was like, yes, you're keeping that away from me.
I would like to be the dentist just... No, I'd like to be the dentist just once. Just once, just to freak people out that I didn't like. You know? I mean, the worst thing you can hear is like... Whoops! Whoops is the worst thing you can hear when you hear the drill stop.
I think the dentist I go to was really, really nice. She told me if you feel any discomfort or pain, just raise your hand. I'm like, if I feel any discomfort or pain, I'm not going to raise my hand to ask you a question.
Now, going back to being a dick dentist part, it would be great if he said, "Do not get ready to raise your hand," and he strapped you down. Like, anyway.
So,
psycho dentist aside.
Sorry, it's okay. So we're here today to actually talk about cosplays and not psycho dentists.
Unless you are like a psycho dentist from like Courage the Cowardly Dog, in which case, yeah. No, he was a barber. You could work it up. Anyway.
Well, there is a psycho dentist in the Little Shop of Horrors, I think.
And in Kids Next Door.
Psycho dentists all over the place, people.
Yeah, we don't like them.
No.
Like mimes.
We like normal dentists that are not psycho. So, as I said, we are here to talk about cosplay, and my first question for you, Beanie, is when did you first start cosplaying?
Oh boy, what a question. Well, I'm terrible at dates and times and stuff, so I can really lowball this one. I guess, like, getting back to it, like, when you really get into cosplay, it's like when everybody gets into cosplay who, you know, takes it that step further, is Halloween. Like, the first thing you can really do is Halloween, because every time you go on Facebook around this time, everyone's going like, "Is it Halloween yet? It's Halloween yet?" It's like, and like we're all going like, "Halloween? You mean clothes shopping?" Or, you know, like, or cosplay prop shopping, which we all do. But now that was Halloween. That's what everyone does. Mm-hmm. So we're talking legitimately when I first got into cosplay. This is back earlier days of Erdicon. I'm trying to remember the exact date. It's when it was back in the college area of DCU or UCD. I always get that confused. And they were in, like, had moved to the new location, Helix. So, geez, I was still in school around that time. I'm gonna really try to do not quote me on this, but I'm going to think it was like 2013, maybe 12. My first cosplay was kind of a darkish Mad Hatter.
Nice. Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland or from Batman?
Yeah. The funny thing about that is that we worked it in both ways. I went up as Alice in Wonderland creepiness, and then I was with a group of friends who I got one of my guys into it who you probably know as Michael O'Connor. He does a lot of good things, makes a lot of props and stuff, and he was rocking his Batman, and then we all decided, hey, let's be a group together. I mean, Mad Hatter is a villain, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'm a villain, and I'm pretty dark looking, so yeah, bad guy.
Awesome. So my next question for you is, who or what inspired you to cosplay?
Oh boy. Well, I don't know. You could really think about that. Who inspired me, per se? I mean, I went to the convention and I saw a lot of people and how they really went for it and dedicated, and man. And then I start getting to know other cosplayers, and they inspire me to this day. But who inspired me to do it in the first place? Well, I always did like the way that, I know he's not really a cosplayer, but Robin Williams, bless his soul, he was always pretty good in his actoring, as he would call it, and changing from one character to the next character. I watched him in loads of different films, and the way that he could be the nicest person on the planet to like a kid to like a murderer. I saw him in one of those things. I was like, he's a murderer in this? Shit. So, and how rude he could be, but how great he could be. And then he would obviously have parts in movies, how he'd do different costumes and stuff, and just seeing someone go from one thing to the next, just, I guess it was him who inspired me.
The best thing that about that, for me, in terms of Robin Williams as an inspiration, is all the different stages he goes through in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
you do that one scene, and it makes me think about the scene just prior to that when he's talking to his ex-wife on the phone with all the different voices, and I'm like, every character we see there has to be like previous.
Either like something he's done or something he didn't get to do.
Yeah, it's like every scene where you see them trying a different outfit for what is essentially the end result, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Also, it's
you just say, right, those are all the characters that was on the phone with this poor woman last night.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you can get away as people who, like, I don't know, like, me myself, the only thing that really me like being like alone for like and not really being the popular kid and no one talking to you tend to talk to yourself. So you change out your voices and stuff, and you realize that this is not something that most other people can do. So when you look at Robin Williams and that particular scene that you mentioned, I was there thinking like, I could get away with so much shit if I could just pretend that like I was talking to different people. And I've done this to mess around with like ordering. Like I said in my live stream once that good practice can be to order pizza in different voices. I ordered my pizza once as Luigi, and that was hilarious. I was like, I'm sorry, are you waiting for me to do something? No. But it was great.
So let's go back on to the other people that inspired you. Obviously, Robin Williams is a very driving force.
Dominant one, yes.
Is there any particular cosplayers that inspire you? Like,
well, if we're talking like now, all right, because like I didn't really have it because when I was younger, I didn't know what a cosplayer was. So like nowadays, people I know locally, really. I mean, I could say like ones like Jessica Negree and stuff like that, who you see, who everybody knows, and you see like, and she's really good and everything, but like that's like seeing a good actor, like it's a good actor, but it doesn't exactly inspire you. Cosplay and acting inspire. It's a bit more than just looking good and rocking a good cosplay that you make yourself is great. But talking to people who inspire me, well, there's my group that I actually work with, and one who I really get inspired by is Stephen Lynch, or most people might know him better as Whittlewade. Whittlewade's Workshop. He is by far possibly one of the best cosplayers I've seen, and I think way more people should know him. Way more. He's a voice actor, which I admire, how he can change his voice completely to suit different characters. He is 100%, like, you have to love in cosplay how he has the confidence just to do whatever. Rock it whenever and do it whenever and do whatever has to be done. And the fact that he makes his own stuff is like jack of all trades, really, so you have to admire that.
Awesome. Does he still cosplay to this day? Or is it something that he's kind of taken a step back to?
It's sad when that happens, but no. In fact, he's actually been, I think, gone to work for Disney.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's going to Paris. He's living the dream, I think. He can't give too much on that because he basically told me how easily it is to get fired from Disney.
Okay. So we'll leave it at that. We'll see.
We'll leave it at that.
Well
so
done.
yeah,
Well done.
he's going on soon enough. So yeah, to be inspired. Awesome. Yeah, there you go. Dreams come true.
Okay, so my next question for you is, what has been the most challenging cosplay that you have ever done to date, from both the making of the costume and the acting side of it? Because, as we've kind of mentioned, there is a little bit of acting involved in cosplay, whether that be how a character would move, how they would interact with somebody, and most predominantly, which is a downfall of a lot of cosplayers, the voice. So let's talk about from the making of the costume first. Which to date has been the most challenging cosplay that you've done so far?
Well, Jai, I have to say, personally, I am a crafter, I am an artist, I do that, but if there's one thing I will not do is I will never, and I mean never, take credit for something I don't do. So that is the lowest of the low. So I will say right here now that when it comes to, I'm more of a sketch artist, but when it comes to crafting, I can make certain props, I can make certain things, accessories that could be pinned onto the cosplay and do stuff like that, buy a wig, maybe style it out, DIY your own makeup, which I really hate doing, but I do that as less as possible. It's all helms for me. I have connections.
Do you do the same as I do when I'm doing my own makeup? I poke myself in the eye about 50 odd times.
No.
Before I learn I'm not supposed to do that.
The only time I went near my eyes is when I was doing the zombie walk and I attempted to put in a red contact. Like, if you wear contacts, this will make you cringe. I put in like this.
You're not supposed to do that.
I'm not supposed to do that. And I was go like this. It did not work, so I did not end up doing that. So, no, I don't go near my eyes.
Here's the thing for you. I remember when I was doing a photo shoot, and I was doing a cosplay that I'll be possibly slightly altering just a tiny little bit before I go to my next event. And when I was doing the makeup around my eyes, because it's like a Suicide Squad Harley look, I was like, okay, so I've powdered in the majority of what I want. Now I need
the good old she fell down the stairs.
Well,
makeup.
Sort of. It's just like the red and blue on either eye. And then I was like, okay, now I need to... Pardon?
Which in Harley's case, it was probably true.
And now I need to smudge it. So I went like that and smudged it. And then somebody spoke to me. And I'd forgotten what I was doing. Like, never speak to me when I'm doing something because I will forget what it is I'm actually doing. And then I kind of smudged it again and then went like that right into the corner and poked myself really
corner area.
Hard. So, yeah.
No, I don't do that. Like, I've never done my own makeup because frankly I can't. So, I've done little things on the head. I've done little things on the face, which is you mentioned. We'll get back to the question. Mentioned putting together. Like I said, I know people who make things, and I often get commissions for them. I pay for them. Obviously, I do little bits to them to accessorize a few things here and there. Sure. Don't get me wrong, but I do have them, and if they want to know them, if you want to know them, I can say them. I'm sure they wouldn't mind a shout out. Like, I've gone to Whittle Wade, I've gone to Mock Props, I've gone to Eric 101 for certain things. You can find them on YouTube, and they do stuff for me. So that's it. But there are some cosplays that I have done, very simple ones that I have gotten things together, bought things and brought things together. Like the Slenderman one, that was really early. Back, when he was a thing. You don't see him anymore, damn.
Maybe you should bring him back.
No, I kind of don't like it. There's a reason I stopped. Let's see. Then there's Luigi. A lot of stuff went together and put together. So, quite honestly, if I'm talking about cosplay that I really threw together myself, it was Luigi and his Poltergust, like 9 or 1,000 or whatever it is now. I think it's 9,000 now.
I've actually, Luigi's an interesting one that you don't see very often.
And no, you don't see him often enough. You see, like, the very store-bought ones, the ones you get around Halloween where it's all, like, one-piece suit. People get that. I don't knock it, like, the costume is only one part of it.
But I mean, like, that in particular is, like, a cosplay that you don't see a lot of, or at least I haven't seen a lot of.
And that's because it's always a Mario who always gets the attention. It's always thinking Mario. Forget about Luigi.
I don't even really see Mario. Like, Mario and Luigi are, like, two rare cosplays that I normally don't see an awful lot of. I think I've seen them twice at a Glasgow convention that I was at, and that was it. I've never seen them at like a bigger event. It was like a small event.
Well, what comes to that, I guess, is that a lot of people might think that it's too simple.
Mm.
You know, like, it's too, like, oh, you just have to get this and that together. And, you know, I thought that too. But, like, it really isn't. Like, if you want a good, decent-looking one, because that's it. Because most people think, like, oh, I'll put this on, and no one's really going to want a picture or anything, because it's too simple. Everyone wants to be just, you know, a bit more detailed, more relevant to what's on today and stuff. And I guess they don't think it's worth their while. Unless you have, like, a whole set.
Which is really, really sad, because, like, I'd like to see really while I like seeing really detailed stuff, doing something that's simple isn't so bad.
No, sometimes even when it comes to artwork, I do believe simplicity is key. You don't have to, I mean, Jesus, you can see some really, I know people who put a lot of effort into it, and those, you know, those real clunky cosplays, the ones where you can't move, breathe, or do anything, but you're like, I love it! You know? You get those things, and fair to them. But sometimes it's nice to go back to basics, you know, and realize that a lot of it can be in the acting. And with something like Luigi and Mario and stuff, simple ones, you really have to bring it out in the character acting to the costume, because the costume is simple.
Yes.
So that when you wear costumes like that, you have to be a bit better at acting.
So my next question for you, well, it's partly the same question, but now we're going to take it from the acting side of point.
Okay.
To date, what has been the most difficult cosplay that you've done from an acting perspective?
That would be, without a doubt, the Prince of Saiyans himself, Vegeta. Yes.
So why was that one difficult for you?
That one was difficult for a number of reasons. One of the reasons was transporting that zombie. You know, I at first I tried to get his Cell Games armor, the one with the straps, the good old sports bra he has, and that was simpler. But no, I had to go for the one I love. I had to get the one with the freaking shoulder pads. And I love it to this day. It's in the app right now. I'm thinking about bringing it, but the only reason I don't bring Vegeta again is because I had to transport that. That doesn't fit in any bag. No bag fits that armor. It's God, and it was particularly windy that day, and something so big and clunky just goes like, you know, like with the no bag can fit it. You have to carry it around. You look like a goddamn terrorist running around with this thing. And
so
people are going.
That's a difficulty from a costume point of view, like.
Yeah, from like that's a costume point of view. That's just one of the tiny ones. But now your question was acting
from the acting side. Like, so why was Vegeta difficult from an acting standpoint? Is he so like far removed from who you are normally that you found it difficult, or was it the voice, or? Yeah,
it was all of these things, Jai. It was every single damn one of them. Vegeta is completely the opposite of me in every way. He's competitive. Mm-hmm. He's smug. He's angry. He's angry all the time. He hates everything. Not kind to anybody. And the hardest thing, and you would not believe it, the hardest thing to do is this.
Keep a permanent
all
scar
the
on
time.
your face.
Because I'm normally a very happy person and talking to folks and stuff, and I have to smile. And Vegeta doesn't smile. And if he does smile, he has to be like this. Really smirky, like all the time, like. And then he's right back to it. And I'm like, do you know how hard? I mean, it's like his eyebrows are like too big and they're like way down on his head, you know? Like maybe that's why he's so pissed off all the time. But like to keep anyone who knows me, like one of my most recognizable features is that I will stay in character even when I am talking to my friends about unrelated issues. As long as that costume is on, unless it's for a very specific reason, very rare I will break character to do this. But I could be at a restaurant talking to my ex at the time, as it was, and just eating at a restaurant and just like sitting there and going like, for God's sakes, I just hate all Earth food. Everything is drenched in fat. It's kind of why all these Americans are as big as lard asses. And like constantly fix it, and then they'd be like listening, they'd turn around, and I'd be like, yeah, I said it, what of it? And they'd be like, okay. So Vegeta get what he wants. But actually, and to remain in character, I have to stay for him. To be an utter, entire bastard. But, and actually, on the day beforehand, you know, before he actually went in for the cosplay, I had to go on to Facebook, the Facebook hey, and then he strictly, like a pansy, apologized to everyone for my would-be hostile behavior. So, yeah, before I did that, I went onto Facebook and I said, okay guys, I'm rocking Vegeta tomorrow. Now, I have to say in advance, I'm sorry for what I have to do. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for what he says. He's kind of a dick. I'm not... Anything I say, he doesn't mean. I'm sorry.
I remember that because I remember looking at that comment, and it must have been roughly around the time when I started. Either I'd just recently friended you on Facebook, or I'd started following what you were doing on Facebook.
Oh,
and
God.
I remember reading that and fully at the time not understanding like the scenario, what had happened, you know, and it took me a while to kind of click to why you had said what you had said, and I think it was just after I had done my first Harley Quinn at Comic-Con, and I kind of didn't understand why you were saying what you did, and after having done that I was like, oh, because I've spent the entire day being Harley, I now understand why some people do that and say, I'm sorry for being a complete ass the entire day. It's the character that I'm playing and I don't want to break character.
Yep. When we're doing that, I won't bore you with everything, but like I had, like, people clearly knew I was being the 4-star Vegeta from Team 4-star because, you know, because apart from being the best one, he's a dick, like, all the time. And the minute people would run up to him and go, like, where's Nappa? And I'd be like, God damn it, Nappa can't his hot here anymore. Shut up, Ghost of Nappa! I'm not crazy, you're crazy! Especially you, Nappa! And, like, you get people going, like, you know, hey, Vegeta! And they're like, no. And okay, the occasional, like, you know, Kyle what? You know? And I, as Vegeta, like, you tend to have everything, and I had, like, you know, people were surrounding you because, like, I guess there wasn't any other Vegeta. I think there was one other Vegeta, maybe? No, he was Darth Vader that day. Other Vegeta, and they'd be surrounding me. I'd be walking around with, like, a Dragon Ball going like this, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, will you cretins stop following me? I am trying to find a Dragon Ball. If I turn around, and there's another of you behind me, you're going to get my foot up your ass. You know? Everyone. And there would be the flat-out time where I just say, oh, for God's sake, fuck off! You know?
That kind of stuff is really fun, though.
You had, like, kids coming up to me, like, with their I'm talking, like, 5, 8 years old, kids with their moms. And the mom was like, okay, we can get a picture. And the kid knows what's up. The kid's there, and he knows what's up. And he's just like, okay, can you, like, give us something? And I was like, oh, so you want something, do you? And I was like, they're like, yeah, can we just get a photograph? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay. Do you want a sign? And I was like, yeah, we'll take a sign. How about this? And I'd be like this, and he goes, there we go, that's all for you. There you go, you want something for the kid? There's the kid. And the kid is losing his shit. And the mom is like this. And the mom had to look at the kid to kind of like, is this okay? And then they just kind of go, the kid's like... and so, like, and it didn't go right all the time. There were occasional times where, like, there was, like, this really cool chick who was, like, rocking some kind of, kind of, like the sombrero, like dancing girls with like loads of fruit in their hair and the hats and
Yes,
stuff. She was like
the-
a really cool one, like a festival.
I think it's called something in particular. It's like
I'm gonna
it's
go
a
with sombrero fruit.
it's like a Carmela something
Yeah.
or other, but I know what you mean.
But like she came up to me and asked for a photograph, and then I was like, "Oh, it's all right. You can have a goddamn photograph." And then I was like, "This." And the minute the photograph was taken, I'd always say like, "Now, fuck off," and like, get lost, you fruity patootie. And then she kind of looked at me going like, well, he's kind of a dick. I was like, and like underneath like this, I was going like, yeah, you keep walking. And then underneath I would be going like, oh my god, I'm such an asshole. The next day I apologized going like, again, I am so sorry. And he's like,
I think
it's not yet.
I think that's one
No.
of the things that when you cosplay, if you really like the character, if you're like really attached to that character, you do things that are so far removed from who you are as a person. I remember, I think it was last year I cosplayed as Poison Ivy,
Okay.
and I think I'm one of the first men to do Poison Ivy in the UK. So yeah, me.
Yeah. Good on you.
And it was at the worst time of year to actually do it. Worst time of year.
Why?
Because I did it in August.
As opposed to like she'd be like wearing no leaves whatsoever because all leaves die.
Well, pretty much. But August in the UK, and it was absolutely freezing. And the costume that I wore was this like green vest with ivy pulling out of it everywhere kind of thing. And it made it very difficult for me to move. So my movement was very constricted. Kind of like stone-coloured shorts and burned sandals.
Mm-hmm.
So I had practically nothing else on, and I was freezing the entire
That's what I always
day.
think. Like when I see like people like yourself and like who have like the balls to actually go out and like rock that kind of cosplay, girls alike, and I'm there, and the first thing I always think is like,
How
God, I feel bad for you if it's cold. Most guys would be just looking at it going like, auga, But that's like my first thing. I'm always like, God, I bet you wish it ain't cold.
I
hope you can string
remember.
something.
I've got two stories for you here. I remember waiting to get a photo, like a professional photo at the event done, and I was standing next to, like, I had Kingpin in front of me, really amazing cosplayer, who did Kingpin. Unfortunately, I can't remember your name, so sorry. But it was like the comic book version of Kingpin. Amazingly looking, amazingly well done costume. I was so impressed by it. And then behind me, I had Team Arrow from the CW show. And it was a family unit together. So you had your mum playing Black Canary, the two little girls as Red and Green Arrow respectively, and the dad as Slade. And when the dad popped his helmet, like the sweat that was just pouring off of him was unbelievable. And his wife obviously said, are you okay? Do you need water? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just really, really hot. And somebody must have heard this, because I'd heard quite a few cosplayers saying that they were really hot throughout the day. So somebody
And here was me thinking they were just being vain.
Yeah, here was me just thinking, oh, they're being assholes.
They're being assholes, like I tell like hot I am. I'm like, yeah, bitch. I was like,
so somebody comes in and opens up the door, and a gust of cold wind comes in and hits everybody, and they're all like, where you have me standing there just going, shut the door, it is incredibly cold, it is the middle of August, please close the door.
We all have our different difficulties here and there with that. Oh god.
Other funny stories. So when I go up to get the picture taken, I have to tell the photographer who I am, like what character I'm doing, as if it wasn't freaking obvious, And he said, okay, how do you want to be photographed? And I was like, well, can you photograph me like you would Poison Ivy? You know, and he's like, okay, well, in that case, give me a kind of seductive pose. And at that point I was thinking, how the hell do you, how do I pose seductively?
I don't know, get into your inner slut, I guess.
True. That was out of my comfort zone, so I managed to do some form of sultry pose kind of thing.
Okay.
And as that's happening, again, somebody goes out of that door, and they don't close the door behind them. And as soon as the cold air hits me, my body just goes all rigid. So you have me like posing all sultry and like, yeah, and then as soon as it hits...
Did you get like two separate photographs, like before and after, you know, like...
I really
when nature hits... When nature hits Poison Ivy, it hits in a different way.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
But he kind of like seen the photograph and said, right, we'll redo that one because that was a bit unfortunate. I was like, you think?
You think? Oh, God.
Okay, so my next question for you. In your opinion, what is the most difficult thing or character to cosplay as, both in regards to yourself? Like, what is a character that you just wouldn't touch with a barge pole for any reason? And what is a character or thing that you would advise other people not do? So
Are we just talking about costumes here, or...?
Well, cosplays or... Well, yeah, predominantly cosplay. So what's a character or cosplay creature that you would not do for whatever reason, and what is one that you would advise other people not do?
Well... I mean, there's when it comes to characters that I would regard as taboo. Well, I mean, there's nothing specific, but like I guess characters. This kind of goes in like a double-edged sword. Like I watch a lot of people online, whether it be Great Under A or you have Alpha Omega Sin, who touch on stuff like this. Right? And now, if I had to say anything, characters that are over-the-top revealing, I'm talking like wearing practically nothing, you know? But that really should just go without saying. But on that term, right, I hear very ridiculous stories and things that get said, like, you know, Cammy from Street Fighter?
Yes.
There's people who get, like, really offended that, like, this person is, like, showing off legs and a bit of butt and stuff like that. Whereas when you really get down to it, what she's wearing is a one-piece suit that kids do see at the swimming pool and on beaches. So then we have people like Wonder Woman, or you'd have, okay, let's just say everybody that's a female superhero, all right? And people that get over-the-top offended just because this person looks this way. And, you know... Like, there's that, but then there's the ones who are a bit too revealing, and you get, like, most animes and stuff where, like, you'd have people like Kill la Kill. I've seen people who go at Kill la Kill, and when they're all geared up, and they're practically almost wearing nothing, and, like I said, double-edged sword. There are some people who I see who have to cover up for the most part, but when they take photographs, they take off, and then they put, like, a thing back over again to do it. People know who they are. It's kind of shaky territory in that sense. If I had to say one, like Borat, I guess rocking like the banana hammock thing, whatever that is, you know, that could be, I guess, a little bit out there. Just, you know, I always think try and keep it tasteful.
Definitely.
You know, just there's nothing wrong with going around. Hey, fairness to you guys. Like if you, then people might say, okay, Beanie. What about 300? You see guys rocking 300. That guy's basically wearing a cape, a frickin' cape, and a brass helmet, and a man thong. You know, a leather man thong. And it's like, yeah, but like kids aren't going to lose their mind when they see that. But then they'd be thinking, yeah, so what about that? And that's when you think that gender things are a little different. I mean, Conan the Barbarian and stuff rocks that kind of look as well. He-Man rocks that look. But kids don't exactly go like, Mommy! You know? But, like, people will take offense to that if they think it's showing too much. So, I'm thinking it comes down to you, you know? And, obviously, it might come down to the convention itself. where they say like how much skin you can show, or like, you know, if you're basically just wearing tape over your nips and your tatas, then they're not exactly going to let you in, you know. And in fairness, people can go like, but cosplay is for everybody, you know. And I was like, you know, but yeah, you know when you're taking the piss a little, you know.
Definitely.
So you yourself think that if you can think that maybe this isn't a good idea, or if I do have to rock this look, I should bring a jacket or something. Just when I'm not taking photographs. Personally? Well, to a personal standard, this is just, like I said, a personal preference, but I don't really... I respect people who have, like, the gusto to rock a shirtless cosplay and stuff. Like, I really do have to respect that. Because even though I do a certain workout regimen, I just don't really have that in me to do that. Like, if I did, I'd have the balls to do one of my favorite characters, Crash Bandicoot. But obviously, Crash doesn't wear a t-shirt. I always rock the quarter lengths in my style because I loved them as a kid. So I'd have to do that and maybe take my shirt off and stuff and run around like that. So specifically, a character that I wouldn't do is you'd probably have like over-the-top femboy characters who every scene, mostly anime, every scene they have to have their shirt off and look all provocative and stuff. And I wouldn't do that because for two reasons. One, I think because I don't have the confidence for that. Two, I think personally, as a character-wise, I always find that character lazy. That lazy character who just always had no personality, just takes his shirt off, looks pretty, and all the girls fall for him. He's the best thing ever. No, he's not. He's like Sasuke 2.0000000. It's boring.
Character and or any
boring,
kind of like male character in a predominant female show.
Yeah, like that's it. Like I just personally I find them boring. Is there something wrong with them? Of course not. But I just personally don't do it. And I kind of, like I said, like I know their characters, they're popular, people like them, and I'm sure to a certain market, it's not my market. I'm not their fan base. They're their fan base. Hey, you're do it if you want. I don't really mind. I don't care. You know, but personally, I think if you want to put a bit more effort into it, yeah, try someone who's a bit more, I don't know, has a bit more character depth to him. But there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's not like you shouldn't. If you're trying to get like that sort of thing, like if it was a cosplay that was so horrible that I wouldn't do, you know, well, that's obviously go around with the banana hammock, you know?
Yeah, I'd have to, like, I've never had anybody do that at a con that I'm at.
I have.
If I seen that, I would avoid that person like the plague. It'd be like, yeah, you're not coming anywhere near me, and I'm not
about
going anywhere near you.
9.5 out of 10. That guy is probably a freak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Either
that, or he's one ballsy son of a bitch, pun intended.
Okay, so my next question for you is there are two types of Comic Cons that we can go to throughout the year. There's the big once-a-year ones, which are like your MCMs, your film and Comic Cons, like down in London or in Ireland or wherever you are from. And then there's your smaller, more local ones that happen every month or 2 months.
Okay.
Out of those two, which do you prefer going to? Do you prefer going to the big once-a-year ones or the smaller, more local ones? Or do you like a blend of the two?
Well, I mean, talking about what you enjoy, I mean, obviously it's a lot to take in for your first con when you go to a huge one, which I've gotten my friends and family into cons. I'm a bastard for that. I like spread it out, and I don't know whether I should be proud. I guess I should be proud that I get my friends, especially when I was into college. I was like, yeah, I'm going to a convention. They were like, convention? What's that? And I'm like, well, and I felt like I almost should go into song like every time, but Have you ever wanted your geeky side to be popular? You know? Are you antisocial? Well, you won't be here. Yeah, I've gotten a few people into cosplay, and some of them went for it. More times people go to it, and they end up being like really good cosplayers and things because they get into it. But a big convention can be, especially for children, a lot to take in. Mm-hmm. But hey, I went to Urticon when it was smaller, mind you. So yeah, maybe it was a bit easy. Obviously I didn't cosplay my first convention. I didn't. I walked in and I was absorbing it. I was taking it all in, you know. And when it was smaller, I guess it was easier to take in. But I'm not saying you can't. I mean, I brought his dad brought him down after I told him about it to a convention, and he loved it. He was freaking losing his mind.
Sorry, who's dad?
Oh, sorry. My cousin, who is a dad, and had his son. So I guess he's my second cousin.
Right. I get it now.
So he brought him down. It's like, not my dad. My dad actually wanted to go to a convention just to see what it was like. I'd say he had a lot of fun. It's all for all ages, really. But they both had a lot of fun.
Do you know the best
they brought it in. So anyway, so I go off. I do that a lot. Getting off the tangent, you were talking what do I like? Well, I guess I like a blend, really. It depends on what you're into. Also, it depends on what you're able to get into. Some conventions, sometimes it doesn't suit people, you know? Sometimes they can't get to this area, they can't get accommodation, or they just flat out don't have the money to go. So the smaller conventions might be better, because a lot of these smaller ones are very local, like in Dublin. A lot of them are around Dublin. Then you get, like, medium ones, like your mediums. Like, I wouldn't know if you call this a medium convention, but I went to... oh dear. Wow, I'm actually blanking. Kaizuko?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I went to Kaizuko. I think that one was in Cork. Really had fun on that one. Luigi freaking took that con for him. I did...
Okay, sorry, we just kind of lost you there for a second, so can you please repeat that? Like, Luigi... What? That con?
Oh, yeah, like, that's the suspense part. Luigi, and then he cuts out there. What did Luigi do?
Yeah.
Well, he just took it by storm, really. I just broke loose and went around and did Luigi and did all these... Got into funny, like, situations with people with Luigi, because I was the only one there. And, like, without getting off on too much of a tangent, like, I had, like, this little... Red Star, who someone conveniently was putting mustaches on everything, and they put it on that, and that was so perfect, because I was like, it's my bro, you know? And like, every Mario I ever saw, I am, Jai, if I had to tell you anything, I am absolutely shit at throwing things, for the most part, but when I got into Luigi, now, obviously, saying this straight out, it is not okay to assault people of any kind or throw anything. Just because you know this character, if they always throw something at them, and you see like the male version or the female version, whatever, and the female version, you know, because all female anime characters beat men. They all do that for no reason. But you throw a punch at him or you hit him, no, don't do that. I don't care if that's part of their narrative. Don't do that. He doesn't know you, so they don't know you. But I had a little fluffy toy that couldn't hurt anyone if I tried, you know? So I just had this fluffy bean just throwing it at Mario's head. Every Mario I saw this female Mario, who I will name Marina, every time I saw her, it was like,
Mama told me to call him Marina after he's a sex change.
But, like, I chucked this thing at freak accuracy, and I hit her smack dab in the head, all the way across the room. She looked around. It didn't hurt at all. If I said anything like that, you shouldn't. That's probably my bad. But it was so fluffy and soft, it couldn't hurt anyone. It hit her at the back of the head. She looked back and broke her ass laughing when she just saw me go by like this. Big mustache and everything. When the death stare was a thing. Remember that? And then I chucked, when I was at Kaizuko, this guy was actually beating up like this other guy, like fake, obviously. They were having a fake fight, and then they were like, Luigi, help! And I was like, okie dokie. And I ran out and I tried to hit, and I was like doing all moves from Smash Bros, like the headbutt and everything. And then this guy started running at me with a goddamn, I don't know what he was, some kind of anime character with a scythe, and he was like, Hiya! And I was like, I just fucked the thing at his face. I threw it at his face, and and this was at full strength when like he was almost at me, and he went like ah, and he fell on the ground. He was like, "That was perfect, man." And I was like, "Thank you." But obviously, this thing was I was throwing an incredibly comfy toy that like could not hurt a kitten if you tried. So that I guess is okay if it can't hurt anybody. But that was funny hijinks with Luigi. He was pretty good during Kazuko. But that is what you would call like a medium convention. It's big enough. Might span to 2 different buildings, but they're small buildings. Then you have small ones like, not really a convention, but Geek Mart is a good enough social gathering. They don't really do cosplay or anything anymore. Not sure why. That was small. It's a day thing, so it's good to kind of wet your whistle. But I think you wouldn't get into conventions if you went to a small one. So, yeah, I guess so. Go to a big convention. Wet your whistle the big way. Take a tall drink of water of it. And, you know, just get it all in. Because then you're getting hyped up and everything and then you want to do it. So, yeah, I would hit anyone I can, small or big, to be social and go out and have fun. But a big one, yeah. Start off with a big one.
My next question for you is, when you've been attending any of these types of events, what is the one thing, just one, that you're most excited for, and the one thing that you either used to or still kind of do on some level find the most nerve-wracking? So let's talk about the one thing that you're most excited for first when you're going to these events.
Well, the thing I'm excited for, well, I mean, obviously, oh boy, seeing friends is good. I mean, you always want to see the pals and stuff that you don't see too often. Rocking a new cosplay, that's good, but you might not have that all the time. But the thing that I've always looked forward to, it has to be between doing the masquerade. Mm-hmm. The masquerade's pretty cool because you get to go out, you get to flaunt your stuff and walk the catwalk and stuff, you know, if there is a catwalk. If there's not, don't walk the catwalk. But, well, that's like an event I like to do. I also like doing a skit. Like, if you have a skit idea, it's pretty good, especially when you're me, and you just go like, yeah, this will be funny. Like, some people are actually, like, planning these things out days and months. They get together and work it out. And then you just look like a total ass when you just come in with something you took off the top of your head and you end up winning. Which has happened. Which has happened twice. But with a group of people. Yeah, that's something I like to do. I like to do the masquerade. That's cool. You get to talk to people. You wait in line, so you get to converse with people you don't know, and it's fun. You get to see really good cosplay. You get to show off yours.
Do you know what the funniest thing was for me recently? I remember when I was doing Poison Ivy, I went in for the masquerade, and I was standing in a queue, as you do.
You do.
And you had the Ministry of Magic group in front of me, and they were all just like chatting away to each other, didn't pay any attention to me whatsoever, even though I tried to talk to them. You know, I tried to be social for once. And then you had this really amazing cosplayer who was doing the Predator from the Predator movies behind me. And when the Ministry of Magic people wouldn't speak to me, I just kind of like turned to see the Predator guy and started speaking with him. And I remember this woman walking past us, and she looked, and I noticed her looked at her when she looked at me, and I was like, okay, that's obviously been a first for this woman to see a male Poison Ivy having a conversation with a Predator.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do.
You know, so
that's actually another funny thing that you see. You get to see like the weirdest of characters talking to each other, especially if they stay in character. Oh, it is immense.
Well, technically, we weren't staying in character. Like, we were talking about, oh, how did you get here today? Have you been here before? Kind of thing. And she just walks past and sees that conversation, and I can remember thinking how strange that must have been for her. To see that happening.
Oh yeah, that's also another thing you like seeing. People who are clearly parents or security watching the people come by and this, and they're just like, you get a guy who's like this, big old muscle and stuff, he's like, what in the hell? You know, like, he's going like, there's a lady there with 3 titties. You know? And he's going like, the size of that motherfucker. And he's like watching and going like, and he's like, I don't know if he's that big or he's just on stilts. You know? Sometimes they are that big. But
sometimes they are on stilts.
Sometimes they are on stilts. And then, like, I love watching, like, the kids, or you get guys who are like, you know it's their first time. You know it's there. And, like, you see what I was mentioning before about, like, you know, okay stuff to wear and okay stuff, and how I think it's great and stuff. And some characters are just sexual, you know? And then you see, like, a really good, like, Poison Ivy or, like, a panty and stocking walking by, and the boy, the kid is like this. And the mom is like, Timmy, no! You know? And
A child must not see this.
For God forbid he's asexualized, you know, and like he's going asexualized. That means he likes nothing. No, God forbid he's a straight white male in today's world, you know. So I don't know. You're like, oh yeah, and
whenever I see that kind of thing happen, I automatically think Simpsons Helen Lovejoy when she's screaming about, "Won't somebody please think of the children?"
Yeah, and you know what the funniest thing is after that?
What?
And I've seen this once or twice. You'd be standing there, right? And this amazes me, and I don't know if I'm going to mention this later on, like the dangers, so-and-so, of conventions. And there is, but, you know, this one is hilarious. One of the funny dangers. When you're in the thing, right? And then, like, someone will go by, and it goes, oh, like, picture there's, like, a girl there, and, like, there's a bunch of really pretty girl cosplayers right there, like, they're rocking, I don't know, Vocaloid or something, and they're like sitting there, right? And another set of girls or something will pop by and go, oh my God, I love your figure, everything. Oh my God, your bibs, they're all like the right way, and the clothes and stuff, and your makeup. Oh my God, girl, how do you do that? And then this happens. Well, it's actually scene 425, you know, it's really good, and I work really hard, and you're like, oh my God, you're a boy? It's like, yeah, you know, and like moms or something, they go by, and they're so unbelievably freaking pretty, that like, and like, this has fooled me more than one time, I'm like, and they don't care that you got it wrong, but like, just watching their face, just watching people's faces, just react like, you are those really good cosplayers who can look so much like a girl, but they're a trap. It's like, oh, that always never fails to bring a smile to my face. It happens every time.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned about the cosplay masquerades. Have you ever won anything when you went into the competitions like that?
Well, here's the thing. I'm never really around when the end ceremony is on. So, like, on those rare occasions, because I live really far away, and I normal the time I have to leave early. So then people are going like, did that son of a bitch actually win something again, and didn't show up again, and I had to go pick up his thing again? And I was like, Beanie, for goddamn sake, if you don't appear up for your prize one more goddamn time, I'm keeping you. It's like, I'm not going to tell you about it. And at one time I won Warbler, that really nice material that good for armor and mostly weapons and stuff. And I just went like, I don't know what Warbler is. I know what it is now. They're like, you make stuff out. I was like, I don't know how to use Warbler. Can I keep it? Yeah. You know, other than that, I missed another one where we won a skit competition, and we got like a medal of some kind, I don't know. But the one thing I have kept is, oh, it actually has the name on this. This.
Oh, yay!
It's backwards on this, I think.
We can see it clearly. It's KatsuCon 2015.
Yeah, what do you know? I got it right. KatsuCon, yeah, that was the one that Luigi won.
Awesome.
Of course. Okay. But that was the thing I won. So that was the one prize that was actually mailed out to me. Yeah, I wasn't even there to collect it. It was mailed.
Nice. Okay, so my next question for you is, in your opinion, what are the best and worst things, so like one good thing and one bad thing, that a new cosplayer can do when they're getting ready to go to a cosplay event? So what would be one of the best things that they can do?
Best thing? Mm-hmm. Alright, well, obviously I could go off on a tangent, which I will try not to, even though I'm a fucker for it. But, best thing you can do? Well, if you have a car, you probably will do best.
To take it with you.
Transportation is one of the hardest things. Apart from, get yourself in order, prepare yourself, have your accommodation, everything set up, do everything you need to, because you want to be prepared for this. But make sure, especially if you've made the costume yourself, make sure to pack it up nicely. Make sure everything's protected and stuff, and anything that could be seen as a weapon, put it away. Do not carry it around with you. Put it away. Put everything away. Have it ready. Sometimes it's hard, I know, but if you're good at packing, great. Which I am not. So put it all foamed up. If it's fragile, look after it, because that's the best thing you can do. And just try and organize yourself. That's the best thing you can possibly do, especially with transportation.
And the flip side to that, what is the worst thing, in your opinion, that they can do?
Wear your cosplay down. If you are traveling somewhere far, I'm not saying don't do it. Some of you might have to do it.
So that is some of the good things that they can do when they're getting ready to go to a con. In your opinion, what is the worst thing that you can do when you're getting ready to go to a con?
Yep. Okay, no problem.
We're going.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Are we working on your time or my time?
No. We're recording again.
I have to get this, man. I have to keep this going. This is the third trimester.
Sorry.
Right.
So in
anyway,
your opinion, what is the worst thing that a new cosplayer can do when they're getting ready to go to a con?
Well, before we would cut to adverts, I don't know if we heard, but we wearing your cosplay down to where you have to go to. I mean, look, I know for some of you have to, and if you have to, okay, that's great. But if there's one thing I have to say is there's no reason, especially when you're going into Dublin, where you're going into Dublin. A lot of people might go, yeah, you'll get a lot, and worst thing you might get is a few looks, which, I never got bothered through looks and everything, but apart from maybe running risk of not being able to go on buses because you just look too different or you're too bulky, running risk of your cosplay or anything breaking, unfortunately, and I really hate this, and real talk right now, unfortunately, theft, people can be, we all like to think that the whole world is sunshine and lollipops and blowjobs, but no. The world can be very, very sad and very evil at times, and some people can screw at you just because you look different, and if you're wearing a cosplay, you look pretty different, so you're just making yourself to be a big target. And unfortunately, I have heard stories about this girl, to make it very quick, this girl was rocking a really good World of Warcraft cosplay, all fur, actual fur pelts, real things. She walked down, she was close to the convention. She walked down, a few, as my dad would call them, hay bosses, came down, cream crackers came down, they mugged her, they robbed her, they beat her, and they did that. And that's not even mentioning the stories of girls who have been sexually assaulted because they're wearing provocative clothing, which, according to Assholes 101, is let me in, princess. So, it's horrible. And I really, if anything gets me angry, it's hearing about that. Not only are they treating these people like they're not people and just jumping on them and stuff like that, it's ruining their work. These people were excited for this. They put money, time, effort into this, and not only do they not get to do, but they have a traumatic experience. So, in fairness, in seriousness, all seriousness, guys, if you don't wear your cosplay down if you don't have to. Oh yeah, and if you're also going to be a jackass and do a Deadpool cosplay on the bus with your guns out, don't do that. Because then you're only making the rest of us look bad, you jackass! Okay?
Yep.
Alright, do not do that.
Okay, so my next question for you is a little bit of an interesting one. It's age differences within cosplay. So when I first started cosplaying, or even had the notion of cosplaying, I thought that, like, I didn't really have a lot of information about it, so I had to research a lot of it from various social media sites like Facebook and various other places. Google is your friend, people. Use it.
Shameless plug-in.
Yeah, shameless plug there for Google.
Yeah, like it needs it.
Yeah, like it really does. But when I was looking at, like, when I was researching it, all I could see was various... hold up. Alright, sorry, I thought you were going there for a second.
So were you.
When I was looking at Google, I could see various, like, groups, family groups, dressed up, getting a picture taken, and every time I looked at them, I was like, it kind of looks as if they're going to a costume party and not a Comic-Con. Or, like, they're just posing for a Halloween picture. And whatever pictures I did get of Comic-Con, there seemed to be an interesting demographic of ages, like, early to mid-teens to mid-30s. And I was like, that must be the demographic, that must be the age group that predominantly goes. And I thought, I fall into that category, so I'm safe. Went to Comic-Con, first time ever, and I was so shocked to see all across the board. Like, young babies, young children, teenagers, mums, dads, aunts, uncles, grannies, granddads. The whole shebang. When you were starting out in cosplay, did you have a similar thought process? Did you think, oh, it's going to be this age group, I fall within this age group, I'm safe? Or did you think, it's cosplay, it's for everybody?
Honestly, if I try to think back to it, Jai, I don't know, I just went in with full expectation, like, with no expectation, really. I mean, I went in and I just saw what I saw, you know? Like, I saw that, okay, I mean, like, yeah, you'll get a lot of youngs going in, like, cosplaying as their hero, sure. You get a few, like, adults and older people who are probably making their own crafts and stuff that are doing, yeah. And then you see, like, the older people who are rocking older characters. And I'm like, yeah, Grandma, you do your thing. I saw a Muriel with a Courage the Cowardly Dog. I mean, how good can you be, you know?
See, I think that would be a complete throwback for you. And I don't think I've actually met her in person, but there's this really old lady, and I'm really sorry for calling you really old, you might not be, I don't know, but there's this lady who does the grandmother from Sylvester and Tweety Pie, and she carries along this cage of a toy of Tweety Pie that actually, like, swings and sings while it does it. And I'm like, how awesome is that? Because she does her hair the way the old lady does, and she wears the top with the exaggerated chest hole area and the purple skirt, and I'm just like, oh my god! Not only do you look like a person you could just easily run up and hug, because, you know, everybody hugs everybody.
And then you'd probably see, like, some old men Logan who are like, damn, man, you are jacked, you know? But, like, they're actually rocking the look and everything.
Definitely.
Like their grandkid or something. And I was like, you're just not from the actual movie. But going into that, like, I am a firm believer that cosplay is for everyone. Every cosplay is for everyone, no matter what your body type, gender, race, or anything practically is.
Awesome. On the...
So, and that might do, like you, people like you would go in and see, like, you know, like you're thinking, you said, oh god, I'm safe, alright? And it's like, you know, it's not really about safe, you know, because, like, it's for everyone. Because then when you go in and you see all these people, and you're thinking, like, wow, you know, that old lady watched Looney Tunes, like that stuff, and then she's at this place, she's as old as she is, and she's rocking this really good old granny. I'm sure she has a name, but we're just calling her Tweety Granny. Everyone calls her Granny, actually.
Yeah.
But she's rocking this stuff, and it makes you think, like, you know, like, people, or your parents, or even assholes, school or whatever, or just assholes you know, are telling you that, like, you shouldn't be into this stuff, like, it's for kids and stuff. Like, any newsreader I've ever seen on a podcast said video games or cartoon stuff are just for kids. Everyone's like, Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, kids made them. Yeah, kids made them for kids. Totally. You know, a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of jokes, and a lot of character development goes into that, and it's for everybody. You know, so if you're into it, you're into it. So what? Like, you're into sports, you're into that, like, of all ages. All these things are for all ages. You know, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. You can go to conventions just as yourself and just enjoy it. But if you want to cosplay anything, I say no matter what age you are, no matter what you look like, whatever, you can do whatever you want. If you have the drive for it and the passion for it, show it. Everyone's gonna love it.
Awesome. Now, speaking of making things and such likes, we are going to now move into props. Now, props for me fall into three categories. Well, three subcategories and two main categories.
Alright.
Your main categories is it goes to a Comic-Con event.
Mm-hmm.
It goes only to a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Your three subcategories are, ow, this prop is so large and it breaks my back and I have no fecking clue how I'm going to transport it, but it is part of a costume, so it has to go.
Mm-hmm.
And literally just holding this prop for 1 hour will kill me. Never mind 7 or more. Your medium-sized props, which are, you know, it's not as big as the large one, but I can only really carry it for about 7 hours and then it starts to annoy the living F out of me. And lastly, everyone's favourite props, the small ones, which happily fit in my pocket and I am good to go and they are wonderful and beautiful and all the rest.
For my Vegeta, those are my dog. They fit into my gloves.
Now, when you're doing a cosplay, obviously, depending on what type of cosplay you're doing, depending on the character as well, when it's a character with a large prop, are you more inclined to take that large prop with you to a Comic-Con, or do they normally only go to photo shoots when it comes to you?
Depends on you, man. Depends on you totally. I mean, I have friends, and myself alike, who have big props that they lug around and stuff, in fairness to them. I mean, you have my friend Andrea, who rocks, like, the best Alice and Madness, one of McGee's out I've ever seen, you know? The hobby horse with her, that big ass horse thing. That's a, you know, oh, fuck my life, this is a big prop, breaking my back prop. So, you know, you see those things, and they make it look great, and she walks around with that, and she takes that to photo shoots and everything. So, but she likes it, and, you know, in the cosplay community, you know, we often say, like, cosplay is beautiful, but it's also painful, you know?
Oh, yeah.
If you're really into it, the better it is, but we all love it, and
Okay, hold on 1 sec.
with very prop that just fits in your pocket.
Okay. Can you 1 sec, Luke? One teeny tiny sec.
Alright, we'll try.
Okay. So you were talking about your friend that has this really big prop. What kind of prop is it she is carrying around with her?
She's carrying, anyone who knows the Alice in Madness game, at one point she gets something called a hobby horse, and she can upgrade it, and it gets bigger as she does. And this one is a black, think of like a big horse chess piece with like like holding it, and it's this huge thing she has, and she has like the upgraded version of the furthest upgraded version. It's huge. It's more than half her size, and she carries this thing around like it's nothing, but she lugs it around, and she's great for that. She made it herself, but she runs around with that, and she loves it. But she also has a little vorpal blade knife, and I'm like, why don't you just bring the knife? You know, and I know, you know, like, just stop breaking your back. You know? But I understand she worked on it. It's hard, and she adores it. So, yep, it can really make a cosplay when you bring something big and clunky, and it works. But me personally, I mean, I'll do it if I have to, but I personally like to be able to move around. Something maybe medium at most.
Right. So you tend to stick towards the medium when going to a Comic-Con event. When you're
Also depends on the character. I'll do what the character has to do.
When it comes to a photo shoot, would you be more inclined to take a big prop with you then?
Yeah.
Right.
If you're gonna do it big, man.
Definitely.
Like,
Go big or go home.
you don't have to carry the thing around.
As they say, go big or go home.
Go big or go home, or just go home with a big thing.
Yeah. I know there's a dirty joke in there somewhere.
Somewhere, but we're classier than that.
Yeah, we're classy on the Jai452 channel.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We're not. We're just
we have
time.
we have the Telltale Game of Thrones game on this channel, so we're definitely not classy. We're HBO classy though.
We're the classy that you want to show to your parents.
Yeah, right. Now, when it comes to props, a lot of people tend to either buy their own and like make their own from scratch, or buy their own and customize them, or buy them to their specific specifications. Which do you tend to do the most of? Do you like buy your own materials and make from scratch, buy your own and customize it, or buy it from specification?
It seems to be bought to specification for the most part. I mean, I do like to craft what I can, and I do sell things at conventions for figurines and stuff. But when it comes to actually stuff, the one thing I've made for myself from scratch with a tiny bit of help is Luigi's Poltergust, like 9000. It was basically a thing I bought on the net of the old toy vacuum, made a bag thing, cut out the bag, put that all together, stuck it on, made that work for me. It wasn't that difficult of a job, so it was fine. But for the most part, I trust it to professionals. When you want it done and make it look professionally done, and you really want to sell the character, make it look legit, I go to my friends. And if I can pick up a thing or two from them, I try. But these are guys who've been doing it for years,
Mm-hmm.
So I trust it to them most of the time.
Awesome. Now, I do believe you have something to show us. Now, we have seen your director's clippy board.
Yeah.
Which is a lovely little prop, but I do believe you've got another prop to show us. I do believe you have another prop to show us.
Hand, you want me to show
the faraway hand? This one?
Like well, we showed two, didn't we? Like you wanted to see one of them. Okay, but that's not really a prop, I suppose. So we do have this. That's going to be a new cosplay soon. Blah.
Ah.
Whoopsie. This is obviously my dear, dear good friend, Venom.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the new cosplay that'll be out soon enough. This is bought, obviously. I bought this from a friend of mine who unfortunately couldn't keep the costume anymore, so sold it off, and I was like, who wants a symbiote? And I was like, me! I was the first one out there. It was expensive, I'll give it that, but I can definitely see why. I mean, this has a lot to it, obviously. So it's one of my favorite things now. We're working on it.
Actually, I think you have an interesting story for this, and I'm going to bust you for it right now. I do believe there is a picture of you, or possibly not you, sitting at a bus stop wearing this.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's the story behind that?
That was our, that was, due to my, my handler, my social handler worker person, told me, Agent Valentine is all I can say. Apparently, we're supposed to keep some sort of diary or something, and to go out and be social with the normal people, to dabble and social relations.
That's a lot of locations.
Yeah, it was a lot of wind blowing that day. So yeah, we decided we would, i.e. the bus.
Okay, 1 second, guys. We'll be right. So.
All right.
Okay, so the Venom bus story. So you were mentioning how your social person said, "Okay, we have to go out and do stuff with the general community, and you decided to be Venom at a bus stop?
Yeah, apparently people think we're a little bit scary. So, I don't know where they got that. Do you know where they got that? Nope. So, apparently we had to go out because we just don't look family friendly. So we just spent a day outside just doing regular things. And, you know, our first bus experience, it sucked. And people kept staring. We found it quite rude, actually.
So you're mentioning that Venom is going to be part of a cosplay that's coming up. Is that a cosplay that's coming up soon? Or is it a cosplay that you're working on for later in the year?
I hope so. I hope as soon as I can. I was hoping to get this done well before Halloween.
Not long left.
Hopefully.
Okay, so that is a costume that you're hoping to get done.
It's all in working order.
Awesome. That's a costume that you're hoping to get done, even.
Oh.
Who are two other costumes that you're thinking of? One that will be your next costume after the Halloween Venom, and one costume that you're thinking for next year.
Oh, gee. Well, slowly coming maybe after, or maybe even before, Venom could most likely be Bendy from Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Awesome.
We have a good bit of that settled right now with clothes-wise and stuff, but we're working on a helmet right now for him, so that should be fun. He's rising in popularity. A bit further on, in the year, well, I would like to get an Agent Venom done, different kind of Venom, but that's very recent. I would really like to do Judge Dredd.
Awesome. So I wish you luck with those particular cosplays, and hopefully on your social media we'll get to see more of those cosplays happening as they are nearing completion and when they are actually complete and at events. So I'm going to run myself back to a question that we kind of skipped over very, very quickly. But I'm going to ask you really, really quickly, what opportunities has cosplay opened up for you away from being at conventions as whatever character you're doing?
Okay. Well, obviously being part of the community and stuff has opened a few doors socially to me. Few people have asked me to be part of their groups and stuff and do things for charity, which I love. To help people, because I always think you should help people with your gifts or things that you're able to do. And it's been a wild ride, actually. We helped the Boyne's Fisherman rescue in Drogheda with the fellow ranger group, which was awesome. We attend a few charities and stuff as the rangers. Recently, I think my friend wants to do something with some kind of organization with getting people to go to charities and birthdays and stuff and all that, so that was good. You get to meet a lot of people who are I'd like to be a voice actor, so you meet a few people who are in the voice acting gig, and they point you in the right direction, and they help you buy the necessary stuff you need. You know, they give you good pointers and things, so that's good. And, I don't know, art-wise and stuff, and cosplay community, you get a few people who actually want you to do projects with them and stuff like this. So, you know, it's good experience, I think, to see things like that.
Awesome. So lastly, before we do the passovers and such likes, what advice would you give anyone who is just starting out in their cosplay life, so to speak, but doesn't know really where to start?
Well, I found my first convention while I tried to attend Japanese class, actually. That's how I found it. I don't know how, but I knew conventions existed. I just didn't think they were around here because I didn't think Ireland did anything cool like that. Honestly, it's kind of hard to find things sometimes, but if you hit like Forbidden Planet or stuff, you look at brochures and things, you find conventions and things going around, and yeah, maybe you might have to go out of your way, you know? You might have to go to a different county or something, or wherever you are, to hit a convention. But I fully recommend it, you know, to go for it. Because it's either your cup of tea or it isn't. And it's not without its faults. Everything has its fault. I'm not going to say that conventions are drama-free, nothing ever bad happens at them, everyone there is your best friend, you know, like, it'd be wrong of me to say that, because it isn't. You are going, it's just like a place, just like any other, you know? There's people there, and things happen. But more times than not, you know, that's like with anything, even when you go outside to the shops or anything, that can happen to you. But it feel as though you feel like you're a little bit I don't know, like, and you're a bit antisocial when it comes to normal things that people do every day, that maybe you don't think you get out much, you're too antisocial. Go to a convention, and then you might realize that, you know, you find a lot of people like yourself, you know, and you get to know people a little bit more, and you might come out of your own. And hell, I was incredibly shy and antisocial and didn't have a lot of confidence before I hit conventions, and that kind of kicked it out of me when I attended them, so I'd fully recommend it.
Awesome. So, with that being said, guys, that is our interview. So don't forget to give us a big thumbs up on this video, and possibly even leave either myself or Beanie a comment in the comment section. I think the comment section is down there. Do you see it, Beanie? It's like right down there. It's like right there. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, guys, where there are multiple more interviews with many other different cosplayers, as well as a brand new series, if it hasn't already started, where I'm interviewing some super amazing people. Find out more on that. Or, if you like gaming, you can see what kind of gaming I'm doing on the Jai452 channel. As I mentioned, there is a Telltale Game of Thrones game currently being played. There might be other Telltale games being played, who knows. But if for some strange reason you cannot seem to get enough of me, you can find me here on this wonderful website, iGameOnline.net. We also have a Facebook and a YouTube channel where you can catch up on a hell of a lot of fun things, like our tabletop sessions in both Merp, Dragonlance and Call of Cthulhu. Our weekly podcast, where you can catch up with myself, Whisper Greentop, Zelly, Darkly, Honey Jade, and the wonderful Faye. And who knows, if you like television stuff, you might be interested in doing the TV drop and seeing what's happening in the world of Arrow, any other CW show, Supergirl, Gotham, the lot. However, if you just want cosplay, you can catch up with the wonderful Any UK people, where you can catch up with Kobe Kicks, Alpha Betty, and Little Rascal. So go along and see what Comic-Cons they're going to, who they're playing as, and various other things. But in the meantime, if you want to catch just Beanie on his own, he's going to give us some wonderful links that we can get to him on. So Beanie, if we have any further questions for you that we might not feel comfortable putting in the the little chat box below, where can we get a hold of you on social media?
Well, you can get a hold of me on my Instagram, I suppose. That is Spectral Beanie, as in ghostly spectral beanie. That's all together. You can go on my. That's the same with Facebook. Beanie on Facebook. I should have a cosplay on that. I do have my own Facebook, which I never mind getting a few people to talk on. Really, it's for everyone to talk on. That's just Luke O'Brien, I suppose. So I don't mind that. I get to friend you or unfriend you if I want anyway. So yeah, that's what I have. I have Beanie, but that's artwork and crafts and stuff.
You have Beanie what there? Sorry, you kind of cut a tiny little bit there.
I have Beanie's Art Mart. That has my crafts and stuff as well. But hey, my Instagram has everything. So
Awesome.
You know, if you don't see it on that, it's it. So
Right.
yeah, I guess that's it.
So don't worry if you miss any of those links, guys. They will be in the description of this video. Please do go along and support Beanie as much as possible. Tell him I sent you. tell him you say hi. You know, he's a very friendly person. I'm sure he will not send venom to eat you. But in the meantime, guys...
That, I'm sorry.
That's fine. In the meantime, guys, I've been Jai452. Spectral Beanie has been Spectral Beanie. Venomhead has been Venomhead. And this has been Inside Cosplay. We will be back with another interview really soon. Bye, guys.